Well, if Jesus says that he is Lord, he's either crazy and a horrible person, or like you said, he's a really nice guy, a really epic dude, and he's also God.
So do you think Jesus would have created alligator Alcatraz? Hey, everybody, I'm Cam Kasky.
And I'm Tim Miller, and this is the FY Pod, where we talk about young people and young things and politics and stuff. And I'm so pumped about our guest this week because, as many of the followers of the channel know, we were monitoring quite closely the Jubilee jubilation between Mehdi Hassan and 20, I think they were defined as far-right conservatives. There were a couple of freakazoids in that room, I do have to say. Some weirdos, people that were into some very kind of deep Nazi stuff. But Mehdi also had an exchange with somebody that left me wanting more because the Nazis voted him out. The system is you put up your red placard and then when you come in, you don't get to, they vote you out, you don't get to talk anymore. And so I was like, I want to hear more from the one of the 20 far-right MAGA conservatives who felt like he was thinking about the questions of the day. His name is Edwin, and Edwin is with us right now. What's up, man?
What's up? Hey, guys. Edwin Sicairos. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too. We know nothing about you. I have 18 seconds worth of information about you, which was basically the back and forth with Mehdi, where you're talking about how you were a DACA. I don't know if actually DACA. DACA, yep. You were DACA?
Yep.
Yeah. You talk about how you're DACA, kind of the nature of immigration, and it was in this total free for all, where everybody else around was talking about how immigrants need to go home and how they smell and stuff, and so then you guys started to talk about your story, but then kind of it got cut off. So why don't you just educate me, our audience, tell us about you, give us a little bit of a TLDR on your life story.
Yeah, thanks, man. I actually also don't know anything about you guys either, so I love to have that shared. You just gave me a few seconds that I'm you guys seem cool. I like to get to know you too, but
we're cool. Yeah, let's do it. We'll do that on the flip. You go first.
Cool. So that's right. DACA is Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, which happened during the Obama administration. Essentially, it was temporary legal status. Now, the wording might not be exact, so people might say, "Well, it's not technically legal. It's just they're just holding you." But I have a social. I can work. I have a license. I can vote, obviously, and I can't leave the country. I can leave the country, but it has to be under certain circumstances, educational, work, or family emergency.
And where'd you give us you were born where? What's your vibe? What do your parents do? All that sort of stuff.
Yeah. A little story. So, born and raised in Sinaloa, Mexico, 1992, and I moved here when I was 10. Moved here to Phoenix. My parents brought me over illegally across the border as a 10-year-old boy. And man, when I got here, instant shock. I saw the first black person in my life and first white person too, I guess. But I was just a kid, just observing. And when I got to school was when it really hit me because I didn't speak the language. And I guess maybe I didn't look or smell like the citizens of the U.S., but I was bullied, and I was bullied badly, actually. Got to the point where every lunchtime I had to spend it like a loser in the teacher's classroom because it was the only place where I felt safe during lunchtime, because otherwise I'd be getting punched in the bathrooms and getting beat up. And
what neighborhood? Where is this? What part? What
yeah. So I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. I live in downtown Phoenix now. Yeah. But this was actually a Frank Elementary School over in Guadalupe, which is just East Phoenix, Southeast Phoenix, Tempe, Arizona. That was the first school I went to. And then we moved a lot. My parents moved a lot because they didn't own a home. They just rented everywhere. And everywhere we moved about 3 different times. We moved to the West Phoenix, South Phoenix, Central Phoenix. It didn't matter where we were. I was bullied everywhere. It was hard to be an immigrant, and even more to be an undocumented immigrant. Because kids knew, they're mean. I'm going through this. My dad left my mom. My dad left my mom when I was 2 years old. And so I grew up without a dad. So I didn't have a father figure to go to during these really difficult times in my life. And I didn't have any friends because nobody wanted to be associated with the wetback kid. And it wasn't until I got to high school where I had a cousin named Nestor who kind of taught me a little bit of swag, kind of how to dress better. We got into hooping, basketball, and also skateboarding. And I started to get a little swag, started to be a little cool. I learned the language. It took me about 2-3 years. So I landed here when I was in 5th grade. I started 5th grade here in the US. And by about 8th grade, like I was pretty fluent. So you couldn't tell that much too, that I was like a wetback kid.
Yeah.
And so I kind of fit in a little bit better. And I felt good about that, right? Because I didn't really stand
I don't
out.
know if that's technically the right slur for you, I would say, though, also, because you came across land.
I know.
You came
I
across land. Sinaloa to Arizona. Like, that'd be more of an appropriate for like.
Oh, is that where the slur
there
comes
are no
from?
appropriate slurs, but if you're going to do one, it would be from like Cuba to Florida. You'd be across water. That's the wet. But you were going from Sinaloa to Phoenix, so that's all land. But anyway.
That's actually a really good point you make. Because you're right. I'm not technically a wetback. I'm like I don't know, sunburn back.
Yeah,
but I didn't walk. But I didn't walk like my parents. My mom did at the time. And my mom has some sort of legal visa status now. But she like did the hardcore. You walk the freaking cerros, like the mountains, right, for a couple of days, like that kind of craziness. Mine was more smooth.
For money, your mom did like for economic reasons, or because she was like security, violence.
Not violence. More security and money. Just a kind of classic American dream. Like we're living in a little rancho, a little small town in Sinaloa, and just not much happening. Just working the fields. I helped my mom work the fields myself when I was a little kid.
Wow.
And just wasn't really much going right. So she figured if she moved to the big city, start making dollars. And she came back and forth a few times until she decided that it was time to bring us over. And so that was in 2003. I'm 32 years old. 32 now. So this was, 21 years ago that I haven't been back. It's been 21 years. Anyway, so I'm in high school now, and now I wasn't being bullied. In fact, I was kind of the cool kid in high school. So that was great.
Congrats.
At least I thought it was
so
great.
was Cameron.
I wasn't the cool kid, though. I was a cool kid. Edwin's telling us he was the cool kid.
Yeah, maybe I don't know if I should. Maybe my friends at Southmont High School will be able to tell you that. But I guess I was one of the cool kids. I was fly. I got a little swag, which I know we don't even use that term probably anymore. But so anyway, so I thought, great, like this is what I needed. This is where I where I need to be. Like I'm talking to girls. I still somehow felt like empty. It felt like just wasn't enough. And not only that, but I was also now, faced with the reality like, oh shoot, my friends are getting jobs. They're juniors, seniors. Now they're getting jobs. I can't get a job, not legally at least. So I did side hustles like landscaping. I did that for a few years. And now they're getting a driver's permit. I can't get a driver's license. So now I'm feeling like that. All that middle school, that shame again of like, God, I'm an alien. Like I don't belong here. I'm not really like these people in a sense. And so, it wasn't until obviously later on, which we're getting into, where the actual Obama administration, where they did pass the whole DACA thing. And I was able to then get a Social Security and work legally. That was when I was about 21. But anyway, during this time, I was into partying and drinking, and it was where my life actually turned around, and we're going to get more into as to why I went on Jubilee. I met my best friend, Sam, who's actually the guy responsible for why I was on Jubilee. He invited me onto Jubilee, and he's kind of like the one, everybody just kind of skipped over him. He also wasn't a racist Nazi like some people, but he was the other Latino who was in there at minute 15. Samuel is his name.
There was a racist Nazi who said that he didn't go up to debate Mehdi because Mehdi smelled bad. And then Mehdi said to Tim on Tim's show, yeah, I can't get into it, but that is not why he's not in the video.
No, he did go up. I don't know if I know that Mehdi said like, I can't talk about it. I mean, I don't know what I can again say, but he definitely went up there, and he definitely said some stuff that were like, you thought the pink shirt guy was crazy? You didn't hear nothing. Like this dude, he was saying some stuff too, man. And
he's one of the quintessential racist guys on Twitter, and you can tell when someone is really going to be that way when they use AI to make themselves look more like a Chad in their profile picture. Yeah. So I had really only seen his tweets from his profile picture, where I was like, okay, you're a fucking white supremacist freak, but credit to you. You know, your looks maxing pretty effectively. And then I saw a picture of him in the video, and I was like, oh, this guy is like not. This guy is not very tough. He's closer to me than he is to his profile picture.
So it's important to have authenticity in your profile picture. Okay, well, I'm sure our audience and I'm fascinated by your journey from getting DACA under Obama to being one of the 20 far-right conservatives debating Mehdi Hassan. But like, in order to live up to our promise to you, we'll give a 30 second of what you've just got yourself into. So the Bulwark was a never Trumper site. Basically, it was a bunch of us were used to be Republicans, not Cam. We'll get to him in a second. Used to be Republicans, left the party over Trump, started a media outlet, and I'm like the podcast host for that outlet.
You're like independent now, or you're
yeah. I mean, functionally, I guess I'm a Democrat because I end up only voting for Democrats, but I'd love to be independent. I'd love for the Republicans to put up somebody I'd like at some point. So, so I host the podcast, and the Never Trumper audience is kind of, let's just be honest, a little old and white, and so we're like, we got to reach other people with our messaging. So we're doing a bunch of other shows and kind of trying to expand demos. And me and Cam hooked up, and we're trying to do this show where we talk to younger folks. And Cam is not a former Republican, but like he has other good qualities. He has other good qualities.
In high school, I got really close to being red pilled. I was very Republican friendly for a while. I was watching Ben Shapiro just a little too affectionately. Mm-hmm. So while I never effectively got to a point where I would have wanted to send your ass back to Mexico, I did sort of say, there are some sexy things about conservatism, but then, being friends with a diverse group of people sort of kept me where I started with my lib family. But I'm so curious how we got from.
You should probably tell them that the most important thing about you.
Oh yeah,
your dating past.
I'm a Scorpio.
The Scorpio. I was thinking about your dating past, or of being a fan of the Milwaukee Brewers, or maybe one of the things.
Milwaukee Brewers is big. Also, notoriously survivor of a school shooting in Parkland, Florida. People in the comments sometimes give me shit for talking about Parkland. They're like, "Oh my God, Cameron won't stop talking about Parkland." It's like, yeah, I was in a fucking school shooting where 17 people got murdered, and I saw fucking videos of it while I was hiding from it. Like, yeah, that might come up.
Also, Cameron is 24, and his most important life experience is starting, one of the biggest mass protest movements in the country. So, like, what the hell else is he going to talk about?
Yeah, dude. Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. So that's our vibe. Anyway, back to you.
A school shooting. And by the way, the almost red pilling happened after the school shooting. So
really? I didn't know that.
After 17. Well, what happened was
who was the red pilled survivor that was like your counter
Kyle Kashuv.
Dark you, Kyle Kashnik. He was like Bizarro Cameron.
Kyle Kashuv.
Kashuv.
Yeah. So basically, I got a lot of promises from Democrats. A lot of Democrats told us that we were going to be the kids to do something about these mass shootings. A lot of Democrats told us that we were going to get something done. Change was going to happen. And then the further we got from the shooting, the more I started to realize that this is not a country where substantive gun reform is that simple or that easy or even that possible. So I felt very left behind by the Democratic Party. I felt like they had made a bunch of false promises. And at the time, I was kind of abhorred by most of what you were getting from the conservatives, especially those who claimed to be conservative, but then were defending Donald Trump, who went against what I considered to be the conservative principles. As somebody who, the first Republican I saw with any idea of what politics was Mitt Romney, right? And Donald Trump comes in, and I'm like, wait, this is not what I thought Republicans were like. This is so much worse than I had ever imagined. So I was abhorred by Republican ideals, but I appreciated the fact that the stuff that I thought was rotten, at least the Republicans would fucking say that that's what they're doing. There was something that I found alluring about the honesty. That's like, yeah, if we're going to do this fucking scum shit, at least we'll tell you and we'll kind of tout it and be proud of it. So suddenly it started to become a situation where I looked at the Republicans as the devil I know and the Democrats as this shady, mysterious force that I couldn't trust. So with the conservatives, even if I didn't like what they were saying, I felt as though they were honest. Now, of course, they're all covering up a giant pedophile ring. So I don't know how honest we can call the Republicans. Now they're all, claiming that Donald Trump is saving the American economy. So trusting them was misguided from me. But again, I was fortunate enough to have friends And having friends is something that is...
Because you were cool. We mentioned that before.
No, but really on a personal human level, having human connections to other people is very often the elixir to the allure of conservatism, because conservatism thrives in isolation. The more separated from other people you feel, the more you're in on just taking care of you and not going out of your way to take care of other people. So I ended up not getting red pilled, but I got close.
Close call. We basically have had a very big teaser about Edwin, and we're 15 minutes in now, and I still want to know how Edwin got from DACA to Jubilee.
So, Mr. Edwin, we'll ask you right now, how did we go from DACA kid getting bullied for being an immigrant to someone who identifies as far-right conservative?
Yeah, very good question. So first off, I am a Christian, and I am conservative in the sense that I want to conserve biblical values, biblical principles, and to some people that seems far-right. As easy as I can explain it.
So you felt...
Isn't there a part in the Bible where they tell you how to beat your slave?
Okay. We're not doing Bible talk yet, Cameron. I need a little more info. I need a little more info before you start arguing with them.
Yeah, and then I'd love to get into the Bible because I love that's what I love.
All right. About. So you're the Christian stuff. We'll get to Bible talk. Mm-hmm. So you get... when you got DACA, and I guess you don't vote, right? So it doesn't really matter whether or not you're Republican or Democrat. Yeah. But so when you self-identified far-right conservative as being, about Christian values and stuff. And so I wonder, then your friend brought you in there. Well, I guess I have two thoughts. I wonder, so what do you think about Donald Trump, who doesn't really live biblical values? And then two, what did you think about your fellow compatriots there in the Jubilee circle? Obviously,
I don't know Donald Trump personally, and honestly, I don't even follow him that closely. Obviously, but I do know this. I experienced two different rallies: the Biden administration rally and a Trump rally. I went to the actual Trump rally. I just listened to the Biden rally because I don't think it was in Arizona. Goodyear, Arizona. This was the first one that Trump had. But what I experienced there, and again, I'm not defending the guy. Like, I don't even really know that much about the guy because I can't even freaking vote. So it's like, you know what I'm saying?
So you went to a Trump rally. You're digging the vibes. You like the hats.
I mean, I like red hats. I don't really wear hats. I don't care what they say on them. A red hat sounds cool. But anyway, that's beside the point. What I liked versus I'll tell you what I didn't like about the other one was that we spent the first 10 minutes, a pastor came up, and we spent the first 10 minutes praying over our nation. Whether Donald Trump meant it or not, right? That's another story. But I know that praying over our nation was a lot more helpful to me and to the individuals that I know versus playing Despacito when you're coming on to the Biden Trump rally, the Biden administration. They play Despacito thinking like, oh yeah, we're going to get all these dumb Mexicans because we're going to play Despacito. Not even Mexican dudes, Puerto Rican, Luis Fonsi.
I mean, it's a catchy number.
It is a really catchy song. It's actually, yeah, it is actually a good song. But so that was like my take. And as I started to kind of to hear more, and obviously everyone leans one way or another when you listen to podcasters, but Tim, you said this earlier, which is really interesting. You said, unfortunately there hasn't been an independent person that has filled that seat or platform that I could vote for. Yeah. Right. And so for me, I can't even vote, but if I did vote, I feel like I would have to be forced to choose between two parties, which is the two that are actually going to win. Let's be honest, right? The Democratic Party or the Republican Party. And for me, being that I stand by my biblical principles, I'm not saying Donald Trump does, but I'm saying that I do. And when I see millions of babies being slaughtered every year, and again, I don't even think that Donald Trump's even doing necessarily, or the Republican Party, but it's, I think, Tim, you might have mentioned this even in the episode of, I think it was Espina, the other Uruguayan Mexican. Yeah, where he said, I think he said something about like, okay, the godless Democrats versus the pretending to be Christian Republicans.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Right? And like I said, I consider myself conservative, if that's what you want to call it. Some people might actually call it Christian nationalist, if that's what you wish to call it, in the sense that I genuinely believe that if we strive our best to follow these biblical principles to the best of our ability in this nation, we will actually flourish.
The nation was pretty famously founded on the OG original idea of religious freedom. So when I hear Christian nationalist, I'm like, well, that kind of goes against the whole nation part, because the nation was founded by people who wanted religious freedom for everybody.
Yeah. And what do you mean by that? Religious freedom?
Well, so there were these Brits, which I know already, I'm not for it either. And they were getting persecuted for their religion. And then they did colonialism because they wanted to be free to practice their religion. Do I remember what religion it is? No. Do I care? No. But I feel like that was one of the original founding beliefs. I think that might have been the founding belief. Tim, am I wrong?
Yeah, the country was founded on not having an official religion like there were in most of the other countries in the past. The point of the United States was that people would have freedom of religion, but also freedom from religion, freedom from coerced religion. And so the Christian nationalism thing is kind of at odds with the American patriotism, right?
Maybe because the Declaration of Independence, right? It begins with we make, what is it, truths?
Hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. Yep.
All men are created equal, and that they're endowed by their creator certain unalienable rights and inalienable rights. It's hard for me to say that word. And so what I believe when they mean the creator, I mean that they're talking about the one true God, which I believe is the God of the Bible, because I don't believe that they had any other God in mind in 1776. If they're going to establish some type of declaration under a moral standard, then, morality doesn't just come from nothing. It has to come from a higher being, hence creator, how they started around the world. And so I believe that to be the God of the Bible. I believe that that's who they had in mind. Could I be wrong? Yes, it could be wrong. But that's my personal belief, that I believe that they had in mind. And so...
Yeah. I guess I have a couple of issues with that, as practiced today, which is okay, maybe the founders were talking about Christian values, but they weren't talking
Alexander
about
Hamilton just texted me. They were talking about Brahma, the creator from Hinduism.
They were talking about Christian values, certainly, but not a Christian laws, not Christian law. It's not like we're a Middle Eastern country that have Sharia law, where that's Islamic law.
Sure.
Christian values. My issue, though, then, in translating that to aligning yourself with the modern day Republican Party, is Donald Trump is probably the least Christian person that has ever held the presidency, I would think, across every possible metric, his personal behavior and his public view. Well, right, but and the issue of the Jubilee, which I do want to get back to the Jubilee, and the immigration question, something that's personal to you. It's hard for me to understand how you could possibly define the Donald Trump immigration regime as anything even plausibly Christian. I mean, taking people and sending them to random countries to rot in prisons, taking away their human dignity. That's not very Christian. Allowing the death and starvation of people throughout the world by ending USAID to poor kids. That is not very Christian. So anyway, we go down the list. But I wonder how you then, I know you're saying you're not voting for Donald Trump, but you're pretty clearly saying that you're more aligned with the Republicans than the Democrats. How do you square their behavior on immigration and aid and with your views?
And I would say more aligned with conservatives than Republicans, because even within there's some differences. But anyway, you're right. It's not, that doesn't sound morally correct, and it's not biblically correct that they're doing all these things now. So I consider myself a guest in this nation, in America.
Yeah.
Right? I have no say of what the leader of the home, right, and how he runs his household. Meaning this, I would like for everyone, I would like for people who are here, everyone who's working clearly like me, to get some type of amnesty. Absolutely. I would like that. However, I also understand that because I believe in the God of the Bible, I understand that there's order, and order is good. And so there has to be it's like asking someone in your household who's already caring for 3 foster children to be like, hey, I'm just going to drop off 100 more children, like figure it out. And again, like, trust me, like, obviously my heart is for these people, like my people. Like, I was an illegal immigrant. I'm still kind of am in a sense, right? And of course I want to be
Are you
here.
concerned at all about coming on this podcast, drawing the attention of Stephen Miller, Tom Homan? They might be able to track you down now. You're kind of...
Do you think our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is going to send you to Alligator Alcatraz?
What's Alligator Alcatraz?